Hey guys, welcome to LG Overdrive. I am the host, the Young Buck. With me today, I have Notorious Fat.
Hey everybody, how you doing tonight?
Also with us, I have Bristol Linen.
What's up, everybody?
We're a little late this week. We were filmed yesterday. We couldn't get the guys around, so we're filming on Sunday right before round three starts. But before we can start round three, we got to talk about round two here. So we're gonna kick it off right away. We're gonna do a little bit different than we have the last couple weeks, where we were all breaking down a series. Now we're just gonna discuss them as a team because we're just the three of us today. So the first series we're going to talk about is the Providence Hershey series. Providence took that series 4-1, despite being heavily outweighed in votes. The community voting was in favor of Hershey, 91-14, which comes up to 86.7% to 13.3%. So clearly, a lot of the community were wrong on that series. Notorious, you want to give us a little talk there about that series?
Yeah, I don't think, like most people, anyone expected Providence to come out of this with a win. Some people thought maybe they'll get a game, they'll get 2 games, but I think everybody was heavily in the on the side of Hershey, thinking that this was going to be Hershey's series to lose, and they did. They found a way, so good for them. Providence had a lot of upheaval this year. There was the whole multi-tag thing going on, lost a lot of management. I think they just squeaked into the playoffs. So I don't think anybody's expecting anything. First round, they go and knock off Lehigh. They come in second round, knock off Hershey. Can they do it again? I don't know. But they did win the series 4-1. So we'll have to see how this goes.
Yeah, no, 100%. It was a close series for the most part. 3 of the games were decided by 1 or 2 goals, and then the other 2 games were absolute blowouts.
Yeah.
Risto, thoughts on this series?
I thought it was pretty crazy that Providence even took more than 2 games, to be honest with you. And obviously everybody agrees for the most part. Other than Providence, I feel so there's 14 votes. That's basically all for Providence, and I'd imagine that's their team.
That's the roster voting.
Yeah.
Even some of the Providence players' mothers voted for Hershey. So they didn't even believe in their own kids.
It's one of those sad times.
Some of the Providence players did not care. Man. Yeah, but every series in that chunk of the bracket was 4-1, which is pretty interesting for, the top left 2 and then going into
so that entire division was 4-1s the entire way.
Yeah.
So next series we're going to talk about is the Laval Binghamton series. Laval winning this series with a 4-0 sweep. 3 of the 4 games being fairly close, the other one being an absolute blowout. Community voting on the right side this time being 59-46 for Laval, coming up to 56.2% to 43.8% over Binghamton. I'll go over to Risto here. Thoughts on this series?
Yeah, so after playing the Devils and then also knowing a decent amount of people in Laval from my last season with Breezy and all them, Lorenzo, I was kind of surprised that this was a sweep by Laval. I didn't expect them to come out as high as they did, especially with that second game. 8-3 is a pretty nasty margin. I believe that was, I'm going to take a quick look. Yeah, that was the Lorenzo and Breezy line versus Willard, Darth, and Hero. And when Lorenzo and them get hot, they can blow games wide open pretty easily, no matter who the lineup is. So hopefully, I guess I'll say Providence is going to hope to catch them on a cold streak and finish them off in the next round.
Yeah, no, definitely. A fun fact here was in the first series when Lorenzo and Breezy were actually playing like crap, the Johnny Kelly line, who was super underrated coming over from Binghamton earlier this season, they went 3-0 in the first round, and they came out of the gates and won that first game 3-2. They're off to a quick start, which is nice to see some of the guys that I helped move to playoff contenders actually providing for the team when their top line isn't. Notorious, thoughts on this one?
I feel completely responsible for this series. Number one, I picked Binghamton, so that fucked them. And number 2, I sort of badmouthed Laval a bit because I talked about how Lorenzo and Breezy weren't doing shit, and if they wanted to win any games, they had to get their shit going. Well, apparently they got their shit going. So between poking the angry bear and putting the curse on Binghamton.
Return of the curse.
Yeah, I think I may have screwed them. I was actually pretty busy this week. I was traveling a bit, so I managed to get through Binghamton and Laval. And one thing I really noticed in both those cities is how clean it was. It's like someone had been sweeping like crazy, completely swept. Like no dirt anywhere. It's so beautiful. So beautiful time to be in Laval, I guess. The snow is glistening and the streets are clean. Everything is swept.
Oh boy.
That's right.
I guess. I mean, with the amount of snow they've been getting in Quebec, I'm sure their streets look fairly clean.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful time to be there. The snowplow.
Oh, yeah.
Snowplows are make a beautiful sound.
Like the big vroom vroom across the pavement and the scraping sounds that nobody loves.
It's music to listen to and to sleep to at night. So soothing.
Yeah. So now we're going to go talk about the Central Finals, which was Manitoba Cleveland. This series is actually a lot closer than many people expected. Manitoba led community voting 83 to 19, with the votes being 81.4% to 18.6%. The series going 6 games. Manitoba obviously taking it here. A lot of them, if not most of them, most of them were 1-goal games again. Notorious. What are your thoughts on this one with our fellow media man, Fourth Line, not being here?
Yeah, well, let me start off by saying this. I think the Western division is sexy. Like, if you look at the matchups, they're meaty. Like, there's like games I want to watch, right? I wanted to see the Moose and the Monsters go at it. That's a good series. I wanted to see San Jose play Ontario. That's a good series. I don't have as much interest in the Eastern series. I wasn't too into Providence and Hershey, and I wasn't too into Binghamton, Laval. But this was this had the makings of a great series, and it didn't disappoint. Going 6 games, all of them really close games, except for the 2 games where Manitoba kind of handed it to them. But good games, right? So, and that's what you'd expect when you get the first in the division versus third in the division. Like, you're hoping you're going to get a great matchup, and they didn't disappoint. So, good for Evan. Looks like he's finally shaken off some of that his own curse, his playoff of voodoo that he's got going on. So let's see how far that can carry him. He's into the Western Final now. Let's see what happens. Like, I think this is
about last season though.
Yeah, he got there last season too.
But this is as far as he's been, right? Western Final. He lost in the Western Final before, right?
Yeah, last
he
season.
needs to get. Yeah, he has to get to the Western Final again.
This is the real time, right, Evan? What you gonna do, Moose? What you gonna do? It's like the worst kept secret in the AHL. It looks like Evan is moving to take ownership in the NHL. So, this is sort of his last kick at the cat, right? Like, if you're gonna win this Calder, it's time to do it. Big boys shit on the potty, so shit or get off the potty, right? Let's go.
It's all about the Mies power.
Apparently, yeah, the Mies power. I don't know what that's about.
I actually had the thrill of watching the first game that Cleveland won 6-5 in, and that was the legacy lineup versus the Evans line with Lindgros, and they actually handed Lindgros his first loss of the entire season. Like, he was 28-0 at that point. But it was wild because it was like 4 or 5-0 for Cleveland going into the third period. They were completely dominating the game, and then Evans' line in the third just turned it around, just started goal, 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 and then Cleveland had that one chance in the third period. There was a bad deflected pass that came right out front, and they wired it home, and I was like, no. Like, it was such a good game to watch. Like, it was back and forth, especially the third period, because it made it more of a game, but like, it was back and forth the entire game, which was really nice to watch.
I was watching that game too, and when the score was seemingly, ugly and out of reach, I was like, well, I guess I don't need to watch any more of this. And then I heard Manitoba put on a show, right, and started coming back. So I guess I missed out, but I watched some of it.
Yeah. Risto, thoughts on that series, bud?
Pretty expected, to be honest with you. With Cleveland almost always, for the past 3 seasons now, I think having a pretty good team. And then fourth line always seems to stick in that division, either Rockford or these Manitoba Meese here. I guess that's what you call them. And it was definitely a good series, other than those 2-6-1 games. But that was expected. There's not much else to say about it. But I'm waiting for this next series. It's the big one.
Fair enough. So moving on to our last series, we had the Ontario Reign and the San Jose Barracuda. Barracuda winning this via sweep, 4-0. Community voting being 55.6%, sorry, to 44.4%. The votes actually being 55 to 44, so 100 votes, almost 99 votes. So community had favored this series. Every game was very low scoring, very close. We'll go to Risto here.
Yeah, so knowing Stasny and Leporskin on Ontario, I knew that Stasny and them would be able to put together a pretty good team heading into the playoffs. And then I actually haven't followed the Mate lads very much this season, to be honest with you. But I have been following Ontario a decent amount. And I was kind of surprised by the sweep, but at the same time, the games were close. So it's not like the 4-0 really represents how that series went, with being almost all of them are 1 or 2 goal games in there.
Yep, every game.
So yeah, it just came down. I don't know if it came down to goaltending or what, because obviously we can't look that deep. But I expect the Mate lads to come in hot this next series after taking down Stockton, which was huge. I think that was one of the bigger, maybe I guess we'll go with upsets of the playoffs so far. Yeah. And then 4-0ing Ontario was a surprise.
A big thing that I saw in that series was, like, I was just saw it in the chat box, and like I saw people discussing it, was how solid San Jose's goaltending was the entire series. And like, not knocking on Ontario's goaltending, because apparently Slippery and Peking had fantastic series, but like the goal scoring wasn't there for Ontario, and they have a very strong offensive pressure. So
there's something I've noticed, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when the season all began, there was a lot of Bryson, I guess, hate going on, because a lot of people were upset that this NHL guy was taking an AHL team, and we're gonna get the pitchforks and we're gonna burn some Brysons in effigy and we're gonna storm the streets. And as the season has gone on, those guys have sort of won over a lot of people. They're nice guys. Like I've played a few games with them. Other things, I was on the show there a week ago, and they're nice guys. And they seem genuinely like they really like each other on that team, right? Like they get along well. So they've turned it like from this we hate Barracudas to almost like a lot of people are saying that they're Mate lads now. There's a lot of Mate lad talk. It's like the Mate lad nation has grown. So they're getting stronger as the year is coming on, like not just in their play, but in their like backing, right? Like people have got their back now. So I'm thinking that's a good thing, right? Like it's hard to play when you're the villain, right? Ask Stockton. It's hard to play when you're the villain and everybody's hating on you, right? And every little thing you do, people are gonna shit on you. It's a little easier when people like you. So I think that's kind of a big thing. Like it's probably not the thing, but I think that's important, and it's kind of an interesting little factoid that they came in very, very bad guy, and I don't think they have that reputation anymore.
Yeah. Moving on to so that's our recap for round 2. Now we're going to move on to our semifinals, so the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals. Eastern Conference Finals seeing the Eastern Atlantic champions Providence Bruins facing off against Eastern North champions Laval Rocket. Currently, the community voting is in favor of Laval by a total of 51 to 10, so 83.6% to 16.4%. What are your thoughts going into this series, Notorious?
Oh, are we talking about the East?
Yes.
Oh, put me to sleep. Sorry. I'm sorry. That's me. You guys, your contributions are great. I shouldn't do that. Anyways, Providence versus the Rocket. for me, I don't know much about Providence. Like, I didn't really watch many of their games. I don't really remember playing them this season, so I don't have a lot to go on. It's been an impressive run, like I said, knocking off Lehigh, knocking off the Bears, but I think Cinderella maybe has lost both her shoes now. She is now walking barefoot and her feet are sore. It might be time to sit in the chair, put your feet up, and just watch the rest of the playoffs because I am picking Laval to win this series. I have Laval in 5 games.
Yeah. Okay, Risto.
So after listening to Torres there, it's pretty interesting. I was looking at this head-to-head here, having where Providence actually took the 3-game set 2-1 during the regular season. That is minus the Lorenzo line playing, and I do not know the other line that did not play for Providence, but it looks like they posted only 2 lines throughout the series while not using all 3 of them there. But I'm going to go with Providence for the upset, and it's going to be in 7.
Yeah. So I can shed a little more light on this Providence team. This Providence team has a lot of playoff experienced players and guys who have been around for a long time. Colonel, who's been around in the NHL for numerous seasons. Before that, he was the WS GM for seasons upon end. He knows how to lead teams to the finals, and it's not surprising that his team has done so well. Laval has a very strong team. They have 3 solid lines, as well as good defense and strong goaltending. So it really depends on how well Colonel can play his matchups, because he is a fantastic GM and he's a solid player himself, so that helps. I personally don't think Providence is going to get very far in the series. I do have Laval in 5. However, I wouldn't be surprised to see it the other way around too, and Providence taking it 5, because I don't think the series will go very far in distance. It'll be a very one-sided series, one way or the other.
So while you're sitting on the fence, Buck, are you going to fall onto the Laval side or are you going to fall onto the Providence side?
I'm going to stay on the fence until Game 5.
You can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that at all.
No, I have Laval in 5 now. I chose Laval in 5.
Okay. I accept.
So moving on to the more entertaining series, this one might actually keep Notorious awake. I call it the Western Battle of the 2 media shows, because we have a guy on our team who's from Manitoba, and their entire team of Access is on San Jose. So we got Manitoba versus San Jose here. Very, very explosive series. I think this is going to go a long way. Risto, thoughts on this series?
Yeah, so looking at the head-to-head here, 3-0 for Manitoba, with San Jose only scoring 4 goals in all 3 of those games, with opposed to the 18 for Manitoba. I'm going to say Manitoba in, this is going to hurt, 4.
Wow.
So let me explain first. Let me explain.
Please do.
All right. So just think about this. You got these Meese and you got these mate lads, and the mate lads are feeling pretty good right now. They're like, oh shit, we're about to fucking steamroll Manitoba. 4th line lost to Risto last season. This is slight work. And then all of a sudden, this huge fucking moose comes in and just steamrolls the shit out of the mate lads. That's my reason.
That's
a very unrealistic reason, but I'll take it. So currently community voting is at 36 for Manitoba, 28 for San Jose, so it's fairly close. It's 56.3 to 43.8. I don't know how that math works, but it does. According to the site, that's what the math is. So obviously, as just said, goals in the 3 games were 18-4 for Manitoba. However, San Jose did just come off a huge series against Ontario, and I know Evan has some strings of bad luck in the playoffs. Bryson, being a very experienced manager, he knows exactly what he needs to do to continue his hot streak. So does Evan, but Evan hasn't strung enough of his wins together to get to a Calder final yet. Hopefully this is his year. He'll have gone 1st round exit, 2nd round exit, conference finals exit. Maybe he can get to the Calder Cup and then lose. That way he can continue his string of losing, but in each separate round. I do have Manitoba in 6, but again, San Jose is a very strong team, and don't count them out. I don't think this one's going to last. It's going to be a short series. It's going to be a very long series. First.
Fair enough.
Actually, Buck, you said this was like a media series. Like, I know all the guys from Access, they're all involved with San Jose there. Who's on the Moose from media?
Oh, Evan, the one who doesn't like to show up because it's a
Evan.
curse.
Sorry, I forgot all about you, buddy. Oh, haven't seen you in so long. It slipped my mind.
It's all about the fish tank, you know.
So the question I've seen posed on the chat box this week a lot was, like, oh, what would happen if a moose fought a barracuda? Did anyone else catch that? Anyone else see that?
I think I might have caught a glimpse of it, but I didn't catch much.
So here's my take on it. And I explained it already, but the barracuda is not going to leave the water to come after the moose because the moose would have all the advantage, right? So the barracuda waits in the water for the moose to come in to get a drink, have a bath, whatever he's doing. And barracuda hunt in pack, right? So moose gets in the water, barracuda pounce on the moose, chew up his dick, rip his legs off, and the moose is now just a wad of meat floating down the river, right? He's got no fun. So in the animal world, you got to pick barracuda, right? Because they have the advantage. If you're comparing team to team, Moose are an amazing team. Like, the record shows it. They had a great season. They beat everybody and did it with ease. Barracuda also had a pretty good season, but what I like about them is that they're like a team, right? Like, those guys are together all the time. If they're not playing this, NHL together or FIFA, or they're playing whatever, they're doing the media show. So they have a really good, like, chemistry and, like, this, right? So, like, they all kind of know what the other one's doing. So I do like that. And I don't know if the Moose have that same thing. I'm sure there's pockets of it, but I'm not, like, entrenched in the Moose community, right? I'm gonna pick, like, I'm going against you guys. I'm picking the Barracuda in an upset. I just like that they're peaking right now. They're playing well. They seem to get along well. So I'm picking the Barracuda despite Garris being on that team. I'm going to pick them in 7 games. I'm hoping it's an awesome series. Like, either way, the Moose or the Barracuda come out of that series, it's going to be good. And I think it's going to go 7 either way. But I'm going to pick Barracuda in 7.
Yeah, so, like, for the most part, we're in agreement that most of these series are going to go very short or very long, except for Risto thinking it's going to be a sweep for some reason.
What the fuck you're drinking, Risto? That's crazy.
He's not drinking your horse piss iced tea, though.
Oh, here, little promotion. Don't fucking buy this. It's horrible.
Great advertisement.
You're welcome. Nesty, fucking horse piss.
So before we go, there was actually some media that we did actually release in the off week while there was no stuff. The awards finalists were released.
Mm-hmm.
The top 3 from each award. Awards are completed. The awards are totally completed. We already know who the winners are, but we released the 3 finalists from each award, so that way they do get the credit from where they do deserve. So, though we have released them, they are on the forums. We will be announcing the awards winners as soon as the Calder Cup has been finalized, so that way I can do all those playoff trophies and all the regular season trophies for just regular players. So most goals, most points, playoff MVP, division champs, all those. I do that all at once. Then I send that all up to the Bogs. I'll add all those all-stars in, so that way the Bogs know who to give all-star awards to this year. So that's coming up. If you haven't had a chance to check out the link for the awards, check it out. There's some pretty good names. Risto unfortunately got snubbed for Defenseman of the Year. Notorious unfortunately got snubbed for Goalie of the Year.
Which is that's a travesty.
But you did get a nomination for you're in the finalist for, what was it? Most sportsmanlike, correct?
Yes, I'm very sportsmanlike. Shaking hands all the time. I kiss babies, high five people. That's just what I do.
You're the most losingest but winningest goaltender in the league, I believe.
Yay! Pray for me.
You're always so upbeat about losing all the time.
I try to be. It's not easy, but I do it the best I can.
Fair enough. Anyways, hopefully we're gonna have Evan next week because he'll be out of the playoffs.
Oh, that's heartless.
Nah, I'm not on the mate, lads. I'm not there to beat him this time. Well, I guess I'm not there to get carried to beat him this time.
Fair.
Thanks, Brody. Thanks for carrying me last season.
Shots fired, eh? Shots fired.
So, but yeah, no. Hopefully we'll have a bigger panel next week. Regardless, I'd like to have the winner of like the GM of the winning team on, whether it's Bryson or Evan, just to give a little in depth about their series and then what they're looking forward to for the Calder finals coming up. But otherwise, not much to do for media until next week. There wasn't any write-ups this the last few weeks from the boys like John, Zach, or Fox. I was kind of hoping that they'd continue that from the season, but they haven't, which is kind of disappointing. But maybe they will at this point because they do watch the show and they'll hear it and be like, "Shit, I gotta start writing again." I know it's Christmas and now we're back into the routine. So, you guys got any final words before we head out for this night?
Actually, I do. Just to sort of add on to what you said about having either Bryson or Evan on next week. I think it'd be nice to extend the offer to the East as well. If the winner of that series would like to come on as well and show their face, whether you're repugnant or not, feel free to be on the show and let's talk a little bit about your series.
Yeah. Colonel, I'm sure wouldn't mind. I don't think I would invite Provorov. I'd probably invite Lorenzo. Just because Lorenzo is a little more friendlier with the league and knows the guys a little better, so he'll be able to give a more in-depth analysis on talking about his team.
That's right, Provorov, you're shit.
Jesus.
Hey, if you guys are ugly, like Risto, and just put up your picture of the Buffalo Bills, they're not in the playoffs anymore either. So.
Oh shit!
It hurts. It does. Hey, we made it though. That's all I can ask for.
Yeah.
We waited 19 years.
17,
Anyways,
bro.
Oh, whatever.
So your entire lifespan.
Yeah.
At least you
hey, one more thing. Shout out to NHL for Guns.
Oh boy.
That was a mess. There's your AIDS right there, Risto. You don't have to even elaborate on it. Just say NHL for Guns.
You can have my segment this week if you want it.
Dude, man. Dude. Spell check. I don't care if you're on your phone or not. Spell check. It's like it comes. I have an iPhone. I'm sure you have a Samsung or something, some cheap Chinese knockoff. Just this, it's got to have spell check on it. Just let it do its thing. And no more abbreviations like being okay. What are you, a 12-year-old girl? Fuck.
Okay, for doing the shout out, I got a final shout out to Mikey in the 813, also formerly known as Bishop, for his new rap song featuring Notorious Fat.
What? How am I featured? He's got to change the title. I think he's just trying to backpack off my name, like this good name of Notorious. Oh, if I put Notorious on there, everybody's going to want to listen to it. Listen, I have nothing to do with that song. I may be his father, but I had nothing to do with that song. So,
fair enough. But check it out. It's actually his first professionally recorded song. It's not terrible. He's up and coming, but go check it out.
It's good.
Give him a listen. Give him a listen, anyways. It's worth at least the 4 minutes.
Oh, we're getting the sample right now.
Oh, we're still listening to it. Anyways, without further ado, guys, peace out, and we'll see you guys next week.